There is a program called DataQs. Who here has ever heard of a DataQ?
I haven't.
A DataQ is where I can go onto the computer and I type in the ticket got dismissed with no court costs. If I have a piece of paper that says that because they got a seatbelt ticket, got it dismissed, it gets eliminated and goes to 0 points. So let's go back to Michael. Michael, you know how you got the seatbelt citation and it was 21 points? If you get it dismissed with no court costs, the 21 goes to 0. But let's say the court won't do that for Michael. They're going to give him a reduction in his court fees and find him guilty for a parking violation. That's called convicted of a different charge. And Michael's 7 times 3, 21 points will be reduced to 1 point times 3, which is 3 points. Would we rather have 21 or 3? 3.
Well, see, okay, let me excuse me. Even in the case that we was talking about, this in particular one that you pulled over Ray Coles, and that court case was dismissed and all of that, we could get those points taken off.
Yes.
Okay. That was
and if it was reduced to a lesser charge, you can't get the points taken off, but you can reduce them to 1 point instead of 7.
7, yeah.
Or this is 8 plus 2.
Right.
If he got a citation for the CDL and it was 10 points times 3, which is 30, then it would become 1 point times 3. So it would be 2 times 3 is 6. Would we rather have 33 or 6? 6. So doing this DataQ reduces this down to 1. Now, let's say Devonda got a seatbelt warning, no court date. Guess what, Devonda? You're out of luck. The only way Devonda is going to be able to challenge her seatbelt warning is if she had an inward-facing camera and it was on when you got pulled over and you only took it off as the officer was walking up. Yes? Then we can submit a DataQ without a citation saying we have evidence to show the officer was wrong. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
So a DataQ... Oh, go ahead.
So let me ask this. Would it be preferable for a driver to ask for a citation rather than a warning?
Yes.
Okay.
I have had many companies and drivers beg for tickets because of this. But many officers know they can do that, so they don't want to write the ticket because they'd rather stick you with the points. Okay? So now let's go back a little bit.
Got that part.
What's that?
I just want to make sure everybody has that point right there.
All right. So now let's go through this. Remember I said driver fitness, we don't have enough inspections with violations to have a score? Well, drugs, good, or hazmat, good job. Our hazmat, we don't have anybody with hazmat issues in 2 years. So overall with driver fitness, we're okay because we don't have a score because we only had a couple of them. Hazmat, we're really good because we don't haul hazmat when we're not supposed to. Drugs, we had one driver do something with drugs. Is it okay if I show this driver's name?
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about that, right? I can click on this, my screen will blink. I scroll down, and right here, I can tell you that we had a driver named Kenny L. Bay who was prohibited in the clearinghouse, okay? So what happened here is this driver either refused a drug test or tested positive in their past, okay? And when the officer pulled them over, they were prohibited in the clearinghouse, okay? So we either never did the pre-employment check, or we did the pre-employment, or we did our annual, and they went and applied for a job somewhere else and we didn't know it. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
Let me ask a question about that. So in this particular instance, whenever Kani was working for us, he was subcontracting through another company, meaning we had another contractor using our trucks, and we did not have, I guess, a quote unquote agreement that he could produce. How can we fight this one? Because he was never an employee. We would have not done his,
Okay,
somebody needs to mute. Ray, can you mute?
I can mute him. All right,
Um,
here's your direct answer. I understand, Tamla, but I'm gonna ask you a question. You ready?
yeah,
Whose name and DOT number was on the side of this truck?
VIP.
yeah. VIP.
All right, so the government doesn't give two shits whether they're W-2 or 1099. Do you understand?
Yeah,
They are a driver of VIP courier. So who is responsible for all aspects of compliance of that driver? We are. So should we, VIP courier, be doing all of the pre-employment drug and alcohol queries for every single driver who grabs a steering wheel on our truck, no matter where they came from? Yes.
yeah.
If we are not doing that, we're wrong. Okay. 1099 or not. So we should have done a query on Kenny. Does Kenny still work with us now?
No.
Perfect.
Now, let me ask, now, what if this was something that he could fix? Because he was pretty adamant. I mean, and this was awful. And I know Aaron's on the phone too. This is god awful incident. What if this was something that he could dispute? Because he's pretty adamant that this should have never been an issue.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Kenny L. Bay is 100% allowed to get his own login to the clearinghouse. Kenny L. Bay is 100% allowed when he logs in to fight like hell to get his name the hell off the clearinghouse, right?
Okay.
However, until he does that to his own record, we have to do the clearinghouse check, see he's prohibited, and take proper action to make sure we don't get pulled over and have that problem. Kenny says, well, it wasn't my fault. Blah, 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 Kenny. Go log in and tell the government why it wasn't your fault. And when you clear your name with them, then you're clear with us. Well, can I tell you the scenario? Of course, John Seidel, our DOT guy, will absolutely talk to you and tell you whether you have a leg to stand on with your argument. You get it?
Yes.
So ultimately, the biggest ones that are disputed are refusals. If there was really a sample that went through a lab and went to a MRO, good luck getting that removed. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a refusal where he says, I didn't refuse, my old company reported me as a refusal, bullshit, it wasn't a refusal. He would tell me his scenario. I would tell him whether it's a refusal. And if it was, then I'd say you're out of luck, Kenny, right?
Yeah.
In the regulation, 40.191 in the regs outlines what's a refusal. So I would bring Kenny there and say, Kenny, did you do any of this refusal shit? Oh yeah, I did that. Well, then it's a refusal, buddy, right? Now, can Kenny get requalified? Yes. But can we use him until he is? No. So we got caught at roadside using a driver who was prohibited in the clearinghouse. And should we have known? Maybe, maybe. At the time, if you did your pre-employment and then he tested positive later with another pre-employment at another company, they wouldn't notify us. So we did what we were supposed to do and we didn't know. As of last month, if we do a pre-employment query and then his name is added in that next year, they will email us and tell us they've changed that.